Hari Om. So in this second chapter, we saw the delusion of Arjuna and his great grief and his agitation of his mind. He surrenders to Bhagwan Sri Krishna and he reveals to him the knowledge of the self, the nature of the self. The knowledge of the self is revealed, which is called Sankhya Buddhi. So this is the solution for all our problems. Problems are many, as our Guruji says, but solution is one. And that one solution is self-knowledge. Know yourself and solve all problems of life. That is the solution. But we cannot reach the solution directly, we can't jump. Just like in a school mathematics textbook also, they give the problem and they give solution. The answer is also given at the last page like that. So you know the question, problem, you know the solution, but you don't know mathematics. By just telling the solution, the teacher will not be happy. If you say x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 4, the teacher will ask, how did you come at this? I just came across it. It was revealed to me. Those answers will not help. We should know how to arrive at this solution. And that arriving at this solution of self-knowledge or enlightenment is called the path. It's called yoga. So yoga buddhi, we have to get established in this yoga buddhi, which will take us to our ultimate goal. Yoga buddhi is the vehicle. If we sit in it, it will take us to the state of enlightenment. So it starts with karma, proper attitude in our duties or in our responsibilities, or that which is right, holistically right, not selfishly right, not from my standpoint right, but which is holistically right. When I start performing those actions with proper attitude, I begin my journey. And it leads me to more and more purity of my mind, and it leads me to appreciating the divinity around me. So Karma Yoga itself becomes upasana when I start appreciating divinity and perform my action more and more as worship. Thereafter, the mind becomes further purified and I gain what we call vairagya, dispassion towards the worldly pleasures and worldly pursuits. I become more and more aware that what I am seeking is not out there, but in here. So when I reach such a stage, then I go into the path of knowledge. Here Bhagwan doesn't mention it in detail, but it is described later on in the chapters. In the third chapter, Bhagwan talks elaborately about the path of Karma Yoga. In the fourth chapter, he talks about Upasana. And in the fourth chapter, end of fourth chapter, Bhagwan talks about knowledge and how we can gain that knowledge. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Approaching a teacher, listening, contemplating, we gain that knowledge. So after reaching the stage of knowledge, our mind becomes further purified and become free of all attachment, not only to the world of objects, but I become free of attachment to my ego. When I become free of attachment to my ego, or that ego, then that is called higher vairagya. When I am detached from the objects, that is lower Vairagya. But when I am totally detached from that my limited personality also, then it is called higher Vairagya. And when I gain that state of Vairagya, that is also described or hinted in the 5th chapter, then I become fit for meditation. So meditation is described in detail in chapter 6. Meditation which leads to samadhi. Samadhi is the total absorption in the state of or in our own self. So that gives rise to that aparoksha anubhuti or the state of enlightenment. So one who has gone into this state of samadhi, experiences one's own self. This state of samadhi is also called turiya, means the 4th state. And this itself is called atma also. This turiya avastha is not different from our own self. Sa atma, Bhagavan says, or the Upanishad says. So here in these few verses, Bhagavan hints at all these steps. He says by following this path of karma yoga, one who is endowed with this buddhi becomes free of all impurities. All his confusion disappears when he gains proper knowledge. He also gains vairagya, tada gantasi nirvedam. He gains vairagya from the world of pleasure and from his own little ego also. And mind becomes more and more steady, intellect becomes more and more steady, and in that steadiness gets established in samadhi. Samadhav achala buddhihi, absolutely unmoving intellect, which has got no vikalpa, no modification, no duality. Such an intellect gets established in one's own self. And this state of samadhi or this state of yoga is the state of enlightenment or the state of realization. So after listening to this, Arjuna got this doubt as to what exactly is the nature of this realization and what is the nature of those who have attained this state of realization, how they move about in this world, and so many questions. So he asks this question, verse number 54. He says, Arjuna uvacha stita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava stitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim stita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava stitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Arjuna uvacha. He was listening very attentively to what Bhagavan is saying. Therefore, his question is related to what Bhagavan said. That is very important. Many times we ask questions, but they are sometimes quite not related at all. After listening to the question, then you start wondering. But here, Arjuna is very attentive and he is asking, because Bhagavan stops here, he mentioned the state of enlightenment and stops. So that time Arjuna asked him this question. He wants to know, Stita prajnasya ka bhasha, that what is the characteristic or definition, paribhasha, definition or indication or characteristic of a stita prajna. This stita prajna word also is coined by Arjuna only. Prajna means knowledge or wisdom. Actually, nya means knowledge. Pra is added to say prakarshena, means proper or well-established knowledge. That's called wisdom. Means that knowledge which is associated with experience, knowledge which is associated with conviction, knowledge which is complete in all respect is called wisdom. So he says that what is the Sthita Prajna means one whose wisdom is steady, means that wisdom is unnegated. It is not negated by other logic. It is not negated by any other argument. It is not negated by our other experience. It is unnegatable, what you call wisdom. Abadhit. Abadhit cannot be negated because that knowledge which can be negated is not knowledge, it is ignorance only. At a particular given time, we think that it is knowledge. But later on, we come to know that it is not so. Some other knowledge negates it. Like in the field of science also, it is progressing. What Newton said was accepted as true at one time, then later on, when Einstein came, certain things of Newton got negated, and a better understanding of the world came through. But later on, those things also got a little modified. So knowledge or wisdom which gets negated or modified or changed is not called wisdom. And wisdom of the world can never be steady. It keeps on modifying. That is the beauty. Therefore, science is constantly progressing, so-called progressing, it's knowing more and more. And the new knowledge which we learn negates so many of our previous concepts. And strange thing one comes to know about the world, even about space, about time, about matter. We talk about antimatter, we talk about dark matter, talk about dark energy. So many things one comes to know, and suddenly the scientific vision of the world changes. Science says that, oh, then you will look at the world in a different way altogether. From this, what you call quantum mechanics standpoint, when we look, the world looks different. From Newtonian, what you call science, we look, it looks different. So those wisdom which changes is not steady, and that is why, and that is because it is related to the world which constantly changes. But what is that which expresses as the world? What is that which modifies or which appears like the world? That is that one truth which doesn't change, which doesn't modify. So once one gains the wisdom of this one, that wisdom remains steady. It doesn't change. Like the example of rope and snake in Vedanta. So rope is there and it appears like snake. If that rope is not known, then it may appear like snake to one person. It may appear like something else to another person. It may appear like something else to another. But once the rope is known properly, with proper light and properly, then that knowledge of rope remains steady. Similarly, the idea